inner city school out of Lamarck High School in Galveston, Texas. Anyone familiar with Galveston or Lamarck? Yeah. A few. My dear friend, my best friend from the Marine Corps lives in Baytown, Texas. When he retired, he was going to be, he's still an NJROTC teacher and started in Lamarck. He was asked, Master Sergeant, where do you want to go? He says, I want to go to Lamarck and Galveston. Well, you sure you want to go there? We have this school here. We have this. Nope, I want to go to Galveston. I want to go in Lamarck. He asked to go there. Fast forward, he's the Marine NJROTC instructor there. When school is out, his contract forces him to continue to come to the class and do things through the summer. And I remember year over year over year, he would have to tell his kids to go home in the afternoon in the summer because they were there with him, because he allowed them to do things. He gave them purpose. He made them feel special. He allowed them to be a part of the program even when the program was not in session. And he would literally, you've got to go home. And then after his years of being there, learning that when they left him in the summer, they really didn't have what we would call a home to go to. And those, for your English teachers, forgive me for ending the sentence with to. I just want to get through the next 30 minutes really to talk less about what I'm doing. And really, I'm interested in what's on your mind. But what he was able to accomplish out of Lamarck was he sent the first Lamarck graduate to the Naval Academy. That's pretty big. When you get to where I am at my age, and having gone through the things and the experiences and the people I've had the privilege of meeting, it's all about paying it forward and inspiring. And this is one of those. The first young man from Lamarck to graduate, to get accepted, to attend, and to graduate from the Naval Academy. All right. That's his high school sweetheart. That's what you have. That's what I've passed out. My ask of you today is to think about your kids regardless of their age. You can think about your other staff members. You can think about yourself. Think about your principal, your AP. Think about anyone. This applies when you are sitting in a restaurant and you're ordering your food and you see how those servers are engaging the different tables. How some of them just come up and do their thing, or some of them will come up and actually have a conversation with you because they've learned how to be engaging. They've learned how to identify things. Really, a big part because of you all. So it's going to be fun. That's really my only ask today. K through 12, it doesn't matter, regardless of age. You're going to start seeing your kids fall on one side of this paper or another. And if you'd like to start guiding or coaching or steering or whatever word you'd like to use those young people in a particular direction, make comment to one's parent on what you've recognized to inspire and encourage and challenge the parent to push the envelope a little bit. That's the best thing you can do to prepare your kids for the workforce, is to let them know that it's starting now. Some of them can't even spell workforce, but it begins now. And it comes down to, is leadership learned? Can you teach it? Are you a born leader? Or can you that's an answer for you. But I know you see it in your kids. I know you can recognize it now. And I would ask you to continue to do that. Once he finished the Naval Academy, he had a flight contract. He was guaranteed air. I'll try to keep the military lingo to just a raw minimum. He went down to Pensacola, Florida to learn how to fly. He's still there today. So this is his bride, because you can't get married in the Naval. If you're a student in the Naval Academy, you have to be single. So Naval Academy, West Point, all your military academies, there's a reason that wedding days happen a lot in May and June for your military folks. So he's getting after it. Inner city kid from Lamarck out of Galveston, Texas. The first ever. He can't stop smiling. Is every day a good day? Well, that's based on attitude. For him, I bet it is. I told my best friend, I said, this is going to be in a museum one day. That's one of those museum pictures. This picture here, he was coming back from his first solo flight. That's when the instructor gets out and says, all right, dude, you're on your own. If you mess it up, you're either dead or you're going to owe me $2 million. So let's talk about confidence. Let's talk about the learning curve. Let's talk about when the instructor flies into an airport that's not your home airport, maybe, pops the canopy open, gets out on the wing, and says, oh, no, you stay here. And you go, excuse me? He goes, you're ready for your solo. This is what I want you to do, X, Y, and Z. Any questions? And you just really get this blank stare because you didn't know that you were getting ready to solo for the first time ever in your life a military airplane. Because all I've been doing is sitting in the back seat telling you every mistake you've made for the last X amount of weeks. And then out of the blue, okay, go ahead and land down there. Okay, put it over here. Pop the canopy. I get out. This is what I want you to go. I want you to do 3 touch and goes. I want you to come back and pick me up. Do not forget to come back and pick me up. So, and that's coming back from his solo. His first solo of many, many, many. My museum picture that I really wanted to show you all, to talk about the relationships between students and teachers. I am not a classroom teacher. I am a 30-year retired Marine, and I was asked this morning, are you a teacher? And I had to pause. Because knowing the audience, well, I'm not a classroom teacher, but I've spent my entire adult life trying to teach and instruct and educate. And each one of those words have a different meaning. So which one are you? So the relationships that you are building and deepening and strengthening right now with your students, not all of them, but there'll be 1 or 2. There are always 1 or 2. And I would ask you to allow for those 1 or 2. And I don't know how many of you who still communicate and correspond with your teachers, but it's time to pay it forward. It's time to give it back. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, having dinner with another Marine friend and his bride. She's a teacher for 25 years. And the young lady serving our table, she goes, I taught her mom English. And now she's in her English class. That's just kind of cool for me. The relationship, all right, I don't know how many med students we have in here. Sonogram. First baby. And my buddy in Baytown, his teacher from Lamarck, when they get this picture, they send it to him. It's an ongoing celebration. I borrowed this. These are not my words. And I see a lot of head shakes in the room, many of them. I used it yesterday with a Medal of Honor recipient from Afghanistan who did his thing and earned the Medal of Honor. And when I introduced him, I had the privilege of introducing him. When I introduced him, I said, it's been said the 2 most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you figure out why. And I looked at him, I said, young man, your why was that one day in Afghanistan, And the reason you walked out of that, as you did, is there's more for you to do. So this is kind of my mantra of late. I'm getting close to my why. I'm not there, but I'm getting close, and I can feel it, and I can sense it. So when I have opportunities like right now to share some things, it's about sharing the Lamarck High School student with you. That's close to my why. So I'm really, really excited and privileged to be here this morning with you. There's my happy place right there. No, I'm serious. I'm filling out my graduate application upstairs, and I holler down to my bride, I have to answer a question. They want to know what my hobby is. She goes, sampling at Costco. That's what I put down. I got accepted. I can't complete sentences. That is my happy place. And when I get my froyo, I always ask the person behind the counter, hey, can you put a little chocolate on top? Yeah. So I have almost every single time I'll turn from the counter and I'll walk to where I want to sit. And I've had people go, hey, can you do that? I think you can. You just have to ask. And then it leads me into, imagine what we could accomplish if we just asked. So encourage your kids to ask, please. And I'm asking you right now. So it's, what time is it? I have a bet with the staff here that I'm not going to go overtime. 8:50. I have about 15 minutes. So it's my turn to ask you. Challenge me with your questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to answer it with the confidence that you're going to think I know exactly what I'm talking about. What's on your mind? You want to workforce development your kids from K through 12? Just be interested in it. Just look at them when they're talking to you. They may be on their phones, like some of you are when I'm up here. I can assure you that that is in the corporate world as well, and it is mind-boggling to me. Then I had one young man, he said, hey, I'm taking notes. Okay. Just be interested in your kids. Make them look at you. Look. No, hey, you want to ask me a question? Ask me a question, but right here. Those are traits that will follow them year after year over year over year when you have them do something as simple as eye contact. What's on your mind? Who's first? There are no planted questions. No one has a question. I was told this morning at 7:30 when I was lost on Frio Street that I said, hey, are they engaging? And he, oh yeah, they're engaging. I went, awesome. And I just had to beg you for the first question. Now I've got 7 hands in the air. Yes.
All right. Could you give us examples of leadership? Could you give us examples how we can perceive or how we can manifest it in actuality and real life?
Your question is, can I give you an example of leadership?
Yeah, of the skills that you have in leadership.
It breaks my heart to move this slide, but I'm going to move it. No, you're not. No. See? She goes, no, I'm not. You may see your kids. Oh, I have. Gives credit. You may see your kids really not want to be the center of attention. There's one. Is that your question? You want examples of in your kids how you can identify some of these traits? Was that your question? Okay. Everyone kind of understand the question? Shows how it's done. I would imagine in the younger years, and it kind of wanes through junior high school and then more so in senior high school unless you're an athlete, that wanting to show how it's done or be first We call it they want to be first all the time. Maybe they just want to show how it's getting done. Maybe they just want to be the example. Does that make sense? I told you I'm making it up as I go, but it sounds pretty good. I'm not around. I have 5 grandkids. I'm a flying grandpa for 3. I have 2 that are getting ready to move to San Antonio. So my bride and I are over the moon. So we're going to start seeing them. I don't know if we or I don't know if either one of those are going to be in there. You'll see more of that in your latter years in your high school. Change the pronoun. Just say change the pronoun and see how they think. Help them to change that pronoun from I to we. And not particularly when it goes to blame for something. Does that kind of help? Okay. Yes.
I think one of the things you can do, besides exemplifying it yourself, are group projects. And that's where you get to see them working individually within the group, and who has leadership dynamics there.
The gentleman mentioned maybe group projects. You can start identifying teamwork and leadership that way. There was a hand in the back. Yes.
I just checked on Jay, and we have one of the largest ROTC units in the country. Can you give me a little advice on how to guide our students? Because you mentioned that you had applied to graduate school, and so a lot of our kids who join ROTC want to join the service because they want to serve their country. It's embedded in our community, but sometimes they don't always see the value of getting a higher education while they're in the military. And so can you give us some tips on how to guide them?
Guide them to the military or away from the military into college?
No, to join the service and to get a higher education.
Okay, her question was, can you give me some tips on how to guide our kids who are going to go into the military to continue their education while they're in the military? Is that your question?
Yes.
I went in the Marine Corps with 7 of my high school classmates 6 days after graduation. I wasn't mature enough to go to college. It took me 10 years to get my 4-year degree. That could be a joke. I could have fun with it. But transferring through the Marine Corps, I was transferring credits. I got so tired of having to answer transcripts and moving them. So you start off at a junior college here, then you get transferred across country to here, then you have to get those. You transfer this, so not all of them transfer in. There are myriad opportunities to complete your education, and really in today's military, if you do not pursue your higher education while you're in uniform, it puts you at a disadvantage competitively for promotion. It puts you at a disadvantage for possibly some job opportunities within that branch of service. So there are, and with tuition assistance, maybe we don't have the means to have mom or dad just pay for college. So this young man out of Lamarck High School just went to the United States Naval Academy for nothing. He has a network that is quite lethal for the rest of his life if he works it right. And he doesn't always take, and he gives as well. So does that kind of help? They can go in the military, pursue their education, and it's almost expected. And if you go into the Air Force, they have their own colleges, college of the Air Force. I forget what it's called. Say again?
Community College of the Air Force.
Community College of the Air Force. There are more retired enlisted folks retiring out of the Air Force with already having their degree than you can shake a stick at. And you go to the other end of that scale, and there's the Marine Corps. We do a deplorable job of graduating with our degrees. Does that help? Yes, ma'am. I feel like I'm at home with my bride. I said the same thing, but you didn't do that. But why does it, when he says it, it makes sense? Okay. I'm more than happy to come out, thank you, to do that. I avail myself to any of you at any time to work with you, work with your kids, work with you. I mean, that sounds arrogant, but I really don't mean it that way. Is there a Costco near John Jay? else has a question?
Regarding that up there, the difference between the boss and the leader, I like that because for me, as a teacher, I'm like, okay, which one am I today? Because I want to go on this side, and the modeling, if I learn it, I always reflect the basically how I'm doing, what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right. So, bottom line is modeling. The modeling, if I get to do the leader one, then the kids will pick up on me, and I'm elementary. Okay, fourth, fifth grade, now I'm going into primary. So, to me, I like that for, self-reflection and to guide.
Did everyone hear that? Thank you for the comment. And as leaders, you're going to go to both sides, because leaders know how to know how, and more importantly, when to cross the line and to do to both sides, and then to quickly get back to the other side. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, any thoughts on how to help someone move from a boss into becoming a leader?
I have a lot of thought on that.
Share with us.
What time is it?
You had that was time.
8:59. When her question was, how can we help I like this. How can we help someone move from the boss side to the leader side? Say again?
Gently nudge the boss into becoming a leader.
She just wants to gently, quote, gently nudge the boss into becoming a leader. You can gently nudge as much as your career will tolerate on how to get someone to move to the other side. First and foremost, someone has to want to move from one to the other side. Secondly, Susan Scott has a book called Fierce Conversations. And first off, the boss has to acknowledge he or she is on the wrong side of that page and you're trying to help. One has to want to be coached, period, but one has to want to be coached across. And particularly, she said boss. So a boss has to acknowledge wanting to be coached from, it's called coaching north, coaching up. If I don't want to be coached from, I hate the word, a constituency, inferiors, student teacher, it's you call it what you want. If I don't want the young people around me to coach me, I'm not going to listen. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. And I will share with you from a personal perspective, within 24 hours of having a new employee, I sit down with that employee and I have a list of things that we go over. One of those things is, you are responsible for preventing me from making a mistake that you see coming. You are responsible for coaching me. You are responsible for helping me get better. And that goes both ways. And then we go into that. I was assigned to the American Embassy in Moscow, Russia. We had requirements. We sat down in the secured room, no phones, couldn't be doing this in the secured room. And, okay, you're in Moscow, Russia. This is what you can't do. This is where you can't go. This is all the things. Sign, sign, sign. That way, when that individual, that Marine at the embassy did that, dude, did you not sign this within 24 hours? Did you not sign this within 48 or 72 hours? These are all the things you can and can't do. When you mess up, you choose to mess up. So, to judge your boss, you have to find out if your boss wants to be nudged gently. What else? Yes. Yeah. Sir. I'm sorry. I'm.
No, I hit on the head what you said about the want. They have to have a desire. For me, the challenge is always trying to find that intrinsic motivation for them, because it's extrinsic. They want, what is in it for me? Am I going to get a treat? So in my years of teaching, I've seen the change. I've seen how kids aren't as
Everyone hear that? The key, you answered your own question. You have to find something that individual, the child, the student, every single one of us in this room has something that gets our heart rate above 80. And most of us in this room, that's not teaching. There's something outside of the workplace that you get excited about, that gets your heart rate above 80. You get a little more animated when you talk about it. You've already learned what mine is. You have to find what that is in your kids, and then specifically the one that you're speaking about. And when you find out what that button is, you get to push it. And then when you push it and you watch how they respond, and then they actually talk more than 3 words in one sentence, or they want to talk about it with you now, then don't jump in within the first 5 minutes. Reel them in. Talk about it. If you don't have a clue what it is, Google it. Have 2 sentences about whatever it is they're talking about. Ask them a question about what excites them, because then they get to talk about what they're excited about and what's important to them. And then, particularly in the high school years, when they think they're teaching you something, oh, wow. They stand up straighter. You're going to have to say, hold on, I have a class to teach. You'll find a whole other person inside whatever that skin. When you find that one thing that motivates them. When you find their happy place. Because every one of us has one. And for most of us, it's not teaching. Don't take that out of context. You like what you're doing it for a reason, you're paying it forward, you're giving back, you're making a difference in the world and in the city of San Antonio with your kids. And that's important. But nearly every single one of us, when we leave the classroom, there's something that motivates us more than sitting in the classroom. So find out from your kids what that 1 or 2 things might be, and then talk to them about it. And it's pretty amazing to watch someone that you've known you get them for 9 months or whatever it is. The first 4 months, they've said 3 things. And then you find that one thing, and now they're the chatty Cathys. It's fun. It really is. Is that kind of, I don't know if it answered your question or not. Others? Yes, sir.
At USAA or the corporate world in general, the kind of kids that you're looking for 4-year college grads, 2-year college grads, because one of the lines that I feed them is, go to college, etc. But constantly telling them, go to community college first, save money, and then go to 4-year school. Does USAA have, or the corporate world in general, still that 4-year college education, 2 years, another finance type school that they're going for?
Did everyone hear that? You asked about USAA specifically. I'll try to answer on behalf of USAA. USAA is a niche market, and there are certain skill sets that one has to possess, series, certifications, licensing, things like that. They've been recognized for their IT work nationwide. They're a Fortune company. They're the best place to work year over year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Inside of USAA, there are 30,000 people inside that 286-acre compound that is over there by Costco. 4 miles from. And yes, I've measured it because I know how long I can get to go down there and come back and act like I never left. Regardless of corporation, what are they hiring? What skill set are they looking for? And in USAA, they have everything from electricians to plumbers to drywallers to painters to accountants to analysts to economists. I ran into a young lady 2 weeks ago. We're doing a PT, a physical training prep session, two mornings a week, and I'm a part of the morning session. So I gather all the keys from everyone that's parking. I'm kind of still answering your question. Hers is left. It's MIT. And I think to myself, okay, I'm going to be candid here. I'm going, MIT? Okay, let's see where this goes. MIT! She comes running back. I said, did you go to MIT? I'm talking like this low because it's just the two of us. She goes, I did. And I won't tell you what's in my head, but I'm just going to tell you what came out. And I said, what are you doing here? I'm being candid. And I'll admit to only some of the things that I said to you this morning. So you can tell whoever you want. I said, what are you doing here? She goes, well, I like what I'm doing. I like the mission. I said, stop giving me that corporate cheerleading stuff. Where'd you major in at MIT? Electrical engineering. And I did. I tilted my head sideways. And I said, my mentor went to MIT. He's in Northern California. Can I make the introduction? Back to, I got to pay it forward. I got to get these two together. I got to see if there's something else for her to do in life. I got to see if my mentor can use her just based off of MIT graduate, alumnus, in electrical engineering. I said, can you send me an email with, just remind me that we talked this morning. She goes, okay. So she sends me an email. She has an electrical engineering degree from MIT. She has 3 other degrees, 2 of which are from MIT. And I'm thinking, I sat back in my chair and I went, holy cow, what is this girl doing here? She's leading 12 teams in our bank doing financial stuff, completely out of her discipline of what she may look like on paper. And what one looks like on paper is quite different than what one may be able to accomplish or even want to accomplish. So I'm in the middle of introducing her to my mentor so they can, if there's something there, there's something there. If not, we try. But Valero, HEB is just not about groceries. I bet you they have at least 30 or 40 different types of job opportunities. And USAA, HEB, and Valero are the top 3 in San Antonio. Have you all already been told that? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry I had to say it again. So, back to her answer. Find out what they want, what they like, and then some of them you have to wind up a little more. Some of them you don't. You need to learn those things. It's good that you're pushing, but not everyone's going to go to college. Some are. Today's environment, it's kind of expected. In 1979, when I graduated high school, I wasn't going to college. For 12 weeks, 6 days after graduation, all I did was get yelled at. But 30 years later, it goes by in about 20 minutes, now that I look back and reflect, and I'm thinking, holy cow. Everything I have and everything I get to do, to include standing up here for the next to stand up here in front of you all, which is just really fun for me, is I get to blame on the Marine Corps. They've opened so many doors. And now all I can do is try to open doors for those around me. His door got opened by my best friend, retired Marine. Saw something in that young man and started talking to him about the Naval Academy. Who would have thought that out of Lamarck High School, he'd end up being in some museum somewhere having the time of his life. So just find out who your kids are. Check in the box, give them a grade. One of my favorite books, and I'll end with this. One of my favorite books is The Art of Possibility by the Zanders. And I'm a big audio book fan. So to hear their voices, Dr. Zander and Ben Zander, I don't know if they're both PhDs or not, to hear them talk about their book and how they've inspired people, and then how it works and why it works from her, because she's a psychologist. The book has brought me to tears. It really has. And I've listened to it 3 times. The Art of Possibility by the Zanders. The Art of Possibility. And I don't have a slide with my contact information on there. I'm sorry. Doug Castle. I'm not a millennial. C-A-S-T-L-E. Doug Castle. My phone number. Not my social security number. My phone number. 210 287 5276. Say again. 5276. Call me, ask me, talk to me. I don't care. I am, because of young men like this, keeps me going. So identify your young men like this and your young ladies like this, because I will tell you, when I was in Iraq, we wanted the female F-18 pilots more than we wanted the male, because they hit the target more. So when we heard their voice on the radio, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Oh, I got chills. I'm over time already, but you see, you get me back to my happy place, blowing stuff up at Costco. Thank you very much.